Hello and welcome to the ODivaZ Ladies Race. We are here on board with Taya Freestead and we are trying to get everyone organized here so that we can get a nice neutral start. Looking pretty good so far. We've got the beacon here on the helicopter view. I'm making sure all the streams are going to the right place. In the streamer worlds, we call that making sure the streams don't cross and make it to where they need to go. So again, welcome this morning. We've got Taya Freestead on board on her camera here, making sure that the riders know that this is a neutral start. A neutral start. Do not chase our lead riders here. We're going to be looking at those riders to be giving us some times as we go through the time checks here. They're about 1 minute ahead of us. So go ahead and concentrate on the beacon, everybody, on the beacon. For those just joining us, thanks again. Thanks again for jumping in. We're really excited to have everybody here today, and it's going to be a good race. I think we've got registered something to the effect of 20 to 25 riders. It's a small group, but it's going to be really punchy today. We're back on the volcano course today. As we roll up, making this right turn, we're going to head to the volcano arch. We do have counters today, meaning that we're going to get a count of the laps as they go by. So really quickly, we're going to be checking on a couple things here. But what I wanted to do is I wanted to show everybody here, if you wanted to follow at home, kind of where you can watch. So you can head over to zwiftpower.com and you'll be able to kind of get an idea of what's happening. And let me load that up for us. Here we go. So if we go to Zwift Power here, you've got this right here. This is the full lineup of everybody that's riding right now. We've got 22 riders, 21 riders in the pen here. And so what it's telling us is that all these riders are here and this is their gaps. You've got all that information there for you to run into. So if you have a chance to jump over to zwiftpower.com, you've got that available for your liking. So we've got Carolina Rush, Audrey Gallagher, Laura Massey, Nicole Osterkamp, Sonja Schneider, Alice Alexander from Team Vixen, Sabra Gonzalez, Marie Precart, Becky Bryant, Melanie Prince, Stephanie Hallmichael, Megan Herzog, Jennifer Kruger, Dane D, which I think it's her first race today with us from Team Vixen as well with Jennifer Kruger there. Aaron Reese, Taya Freestead, Leslie Hoven, Inga Jansen, awesome to see her here, Samantha Lee, and Katie Moores. And we'll go back to the action here. Looks like everyone's getting super organized, making sure that they are behind the beacon at this point. Today's course is brought to us by Team ODivaZ and the ODivaZ today, so definitely going to be an exciting one. They are headed up the volcano arch here, to the volcano arch, excuse me, but looks like their group is staying very well together. Gaps look pretty good, about an hour 30, 1:30 looks pretty good there. There you go. You get the right on there by some of the women letting them know that they've got their support. 2 watts per kilogram is what they're going to be staying under until they get to the volcano arch. And we are on our way, folks. We are on our way. If you have a chance, stream this out. Stream this out. And if you get a chance, we've got comments here in the live Facebook. So if you've got comments, if you want to tell us who you think is going to be a heavy hitter today, head over to zwiftpower.com. I'll drop the link into the chat here, and you've got all the names there. Had to break the if you want to take a look at who's riding and who's racing, here we're at. Just got a message from Drew. That's Taya's husband. He's at a public internet stream, and he had to break the internet in order to be able to stream this live. So thanks for doing that for Drew. Just make sure you put everything back where you got it from. That is what is important. Otherwise, we're doing just fine. Looks like, oh man, is my Discord coming through? That's the question.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Sounds good. Both sides sound good. All right. Yep, there it is. Okay, looks like Tia is doing quite well here in the front. And looks like the group is getting together. We've got a little bit of a bump here. They're going to make a right turn, and then they should be heading back downhill. This course, we haven't ridden in a while. We've been doing the hilly course. We've been doing reverse Watopia. And if you haven't watched this ladies race before, it definitely can get very, very spicily right from the beginning. One thing about this race, since it is a neutral start, the ladies get a chance to kind of chat, get a feel for each other as far as their strengths, their weaknesses, and kind of how they feel, just because of the fact that those riders who normally ride together are here on those races, as well as because they all start at the same time, they're warmed up, and they kind of get a shotgun shot at the beginning of this all here. It allows them to get a feel and to get other riders like B riders and C riders a chance to kind of hold on to those paces, because it doesn't have that breakneck start as it would if you were to start straight fast out of the gate. So looks like we're on that final down. We're gonna make a small bump up. You could see the arch there in the top right in our little window. We are getting close to the start here, and looks like everybody is grouped up quite nicely. A couple riders there off the back, Roush and was that Bryant, I believe, is just a little bit off the back, but not too far off. I'm not too worried that they are going to make their way back here. The pace is quite low. It's under 2.0 here. As we get started and head into the volcano, we're gonna make a left, we'll go up. And like I said, we've been doing a couple different courses in the past couple months. We took a little bit of a hiatus with Team Worlds and a bunch of other races. We just want to make some room for those other women races that we have on the schedule. We've been very, I guess, thoughtful to make sure that we're including a lot of those other groups, just because of the fact we want this to be a collective where riders are able to come and they're able to enjoy that the commentary here, as well as the ability to race against each other. So looking at the live, it's looking pretty good. It's not quite updating as quickly as I'd like, but so far so good. So for those of you on the live stream, thanks for joining in. If there's any issues, audio or video, let me know. I'm here to hopefully fix that up and get us going. Otherwise, thanks again for joining in. We are on the ODivaZ ladies race. If you haven't just have joined us, we're doing 5 laps of the volcano counterclockwise. So as we get all joined up, we are very, very close to the start here. We're going to need to group everybody up, and then I think we'll be good to go. There we are. We'll do kind of a pan out. We have the commissioner, that's our rider, making sure that all riders are behind the beacon. So we'll pan out just a tad here. I should be able to do 6-0, that'll give it to us. And this is eyes on the beacon here. So everyone should be behind her here. That's Tia Friestead. Thanks for leading this race for us today. She's got that yellow cone above her to indicate that she is the ride leader today. Sometimes makes it difficult to race in, but she doesn't seem to have a problem getting her spot in the top and in the limelight. Well, let's talk about teams as we kind of get to the start here. We're going to make this final turn. Looks like everybody is behind Tia here. Looking good. Maybe just one here, but I think it'll all come together here very, very shortly. Looks like Schneider, Hall Michael, Team Vixen's there, right there. Megan right behind her there. Go, go, go. We've got it.
Go, 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 ladies. Go, go, go.
And we are on the go. So we will jump on board. We're going to go straight to Team Vixen. And the reason why we wanted to kind of highlight this is I wanted to talk a little bit about the teams here. Thanks, Drew, for that comment about the audio coming through. I really appreciate that. Sometimes, you know, this can be a difficult thing to toggle 11 screens or so at a time to kind of follow these races. So I do appreciate that. But back to the teams. Looking right now, you're looking at Team Vixen and Team ODivaZ really bumping heads here. They've each got 4 or 5 riders in the game right now. You're looking at the Vixen riders, Dame D, Alice Alexander, Melanie Prince, Inga Jansen, and Jennifer Kruger from Team Vixen, really in that red and white, really putting down the effort here, letting them know, hey, Team ODivaZ, we know you're hosting this race. Thanks for having this race for us, but it doesn't mean we have to let you win. So Team ODZ is right there. Megan, Stephanie, Michael. I've got a couple of Taya Freestead. I know we've got another rider there. I'll see if we could pull up on the live stream, but so far I see 3 Team ODZ. They may have themselves outnumbered. That may be a good or a bad thing, but it only might be by 1 or 2 riders. Here in the front pack, the pace is quite spicy. We're reaching to the levels of about 4.0, 4.5 by Alice Alexander. But definitely looking very, very good. We're going to jump on board with Jennifer Kruger here. If I can find her, there she is. We're going to spin around and see if we could watch this whole group come by. Look how tight this is. Super, super close, super close. As you look back, there's 2 riders, 2 Vixen riders really trying to close this gap. There's only 3 seconds between them. That's Piquet and Reese. And if they can close that gap, you can see that fluorescent yellow jersey from very, very far away, and there's 2 riders just behind them. I think this can come together. If they are smart, they will make sure they are in this group. The benefit of having a large group like this of varying leveled riders is that you can drag your B category rider with you in this pack and allow them the opportunity to experience this front pack, and as well as get them very good placing. Maria Prince, if I believe, I'll double check on that last name, but M Prince is in very, very good position as she moves forward here. That's Melanie Prince, excuse me, from Team Vixen. She is looking like the top B rider at this time. I will double check those stats as everything kind of lines up here. Carrie Conabear on the live stream saying she wishes she was here, and we wish you were here too, Carrie. We love all the ladies that come to this race because it's a party. As we say that, it's looking like it's starting to break apart a little bit. These gaps need to be shut down, need to be closed, especially this early on in the race. It's very, very important that the gaps stay closed. So for those riders that are just off a wheel or so, making sure you need to close these gaps are important. Riders like Melanie there and from Team Vixen trying to close that gap, just 2 seconds off. Stephanie Hall Michael says, "Nope, you are not leaving me, ladies. I've got my teammates up here. I'm going to do everything I can to hold on to this wheel and do the work that I can because I do not want to leave them outnumbered." So right now, it looks like it's the Vixen ODZ show up here in the front. I do see a pack rider, I believe, really putting out some good effort. So strategies involved. Let's see. She's just, nope, looking like, yeah, we do have one pack rider. I'll find out who that is. Looks like she's in the Zwift Academy kit, which means she's got some work in. In the teaser here today, we were talking about this race being kind of the leg opener, or the leg tester, I guess we would say, to tell the other riders or the other teams if their off-season training was doing well. I think this is a good time, a good place in the off-season to be able to jump in and see kind of what your legs are doing and how they are responding. With so many different training programs out there, you'll find that each of them have a different kind of focus or a different kind of lean as far as what their approach is to get their riders to be riding fast or to get the strength that they need. Are they doing the slow and steady kind of build to the rest of the season, or is it going to be a sharp race to fitness all year type direction? It's really something that is tuned to the coaches who are building the races, or excuse me, building the training structure. But it looks like we got a little bit of action here up the front. We've got Dee New, who is she has a notation KOS, and I will talk about that in just a moment. I believe that's a knight. That would be a knighthood of Sufferlandia. And if you haven't, heard of Sufferlandia, that is from the platform Sufferfest, and that means she has done anywhere from 10 to 12 videos back-to-back hours of riding on the trainer to get her knighthood. So, you know, she's done some work. You know, she's spent some time on this trainer. But the way this is panned out looks like 3 Vixen riders, 3 ODZ riders. I need to get a little bit more information on our 5th rider, which I believe... No, it's not a pack rider. See if I can click around and find her. For Kruger. There. Yeah, Dixie. That's right. All right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to scroll back to some of the chase groups here. So we've got that front group. We've got 7 riders in that group. We've got, looks like Inga Jansen, Taya Friested, Alice Alexander, Jennifer Kruger, Stephanie Holmichael, Megan Herzog, Dane D in that front group. So it looks like it is, in fact, 4 Vixen riders, 3 ODivaZ riders in this front group. And man, yeah, I think it is. I don't see Dixie, unless she's riding under Dame D. That may be Dixie there. So
D New is Dixie Newsome.
there you go, D New. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. So looks like this is where we've left off. So that Zwift Academy rider is actually a Vixen, Team Vixen rider. So this is looking like an ODivaZ Vixen race here at the front. And like I said, I'm gonna scroll back. We've got one rider chasing kind of in the middle zone here. It's a pack rider, Melanie Perkert, and then Erin Reese behind her. But it looks like they are starting to group up back there. That is 2 riders from Team Fearless, kind of just off the back into the second chase group. I think really important as you kind of look at the riders as they group up in the back. And we've all been in that position where we are in kind of that dead zone. We've fallen off a little bit off the pace off the front group. And all of a sudden we find ourselves kind of in no man's land. I think it's very smart. And as coaches, we tell our riders to be smart and to, if you are not able to close that gap, for example, our first chase group, chase rider is 16 seconds back. I would have that rider drop back 30 seconds and head back to that Team Fearless group and the Vixen group right behind her. That would allow some good teamwork, or at least the ability to try to kind of group together that group behind them. Behind that, there's actually a larger group of about 6 riders of, let me see if I can get all the names here. That would be Katie Moores, A. Alexander, A. Gallagher, that would be Audrey Gallagher, Ostracam, S. Gonzalez, and Rausch. And that is a pretty large group. That's 5 riders. That's got some firepower there. If they could kind of broom up or sweep up these riders as they go, that's going to be a race in itself. And I think with the length of the ride that we have today, it can definitely make the difference here as riders can go the distance. I'm going to head back to our lead riders up here and see, make sure we know how many laps we've got left here. There are 2 laps. So if you just joined us, this is the ODivaZ ladies race. On the screen now, you're looking at the front group. This is essentially the chase group. We've got the Team Vixen riders. There's 4 of them, and 3 of the Team ODivaZ riders. So really great pace. They're really looking to each other to make this pace strong. They know they've got a good separation from the group behind them. It looks like there is still 1 rider in the gap here. Marie Perkert from Pack. She is not letting off. She's feeling that the legs are good, and if this group up front lets off any little bit, she's going to be able to close that 16-second gap. Behind her, you've got rider E. Reese. I think that was Erin Reese from earlier this morning. That's right, Erin Reese from Team Fearless. She's also kind of in the middle with only just 1 rider about 5 or 6 seconds from Team Vixen behind her. And like I said, in this situation, a lot of times the smarter thing, or being able to leverage the group power or the aerodynamics, is very, very important. So going back to the group just behind you can definitely make this a much more enjoyable experience. That is for sure. So as I look back to Marie's group, she's got someone just 30 seconds behind her, but that large group that I was talking about earlier is looking like it's growing. Let's see if I can get a couple more names with that. That's Sabra Gonzalez I'm on board with, and she is with 6 or 7 other riders in the large chase group behind. The pace is just above 3.0 to 3.5, puts them right in that B category situation. So I think that is a good place to be as far as the group dynamic goes. You've got 3 to 4 riders. There's actually 7 riders in this chase group with Sabra Gonzalez. and I think it's definitely a good situation. Laura Massey's there with her. Nicole Osterkamp is there as well. And then Caroline Rush, that was the name that I was looking for earlier. Looking like it's really grouping up there in the chase group. We got a couple people in the middle gap, but that large group of just about a minute off this front group is definitely showing promise. All right, so back to the action here. We are back inside the volcano with the front chase group. Looks like everybody has got it controlled and tamed down. Oh, looks like we had a dropout there. Team Vixen rider. Hopefully that comes back. You know, one of those things, along with flat tires, drop chains, and so forth. We can get internet drops in this world of racing, just because we rely so heavily upon that. So this should be the completion of our second lap, if I'm counting correctly, for the front group. I will double check my counts. Right, that is very good.
3 laps to go.
3 laps to go. Thank you. So we are 3 laps to go for this front group, as the minute behind chase group is starting to sweep up the riders ahead of them. Aaron Reese is only about 10 seconds from that group, and again, smart thing to do typically is just fall back, get your legs back, and grab that group. There's about 9 riders now in that group, so there is some firepower there that can make this race definitely an interesting one, especially if you just find yourself in the gap, putting yourself in the hurt box for a certain amount of time. But when that gap starts to open up, really the smart thing is to do is just pull the trigger, go back, get that aerodynamic advantage, just like this front group is doing. We're down to 3 and 3. I did see that dropout happen for that Vixen rider. We're gonna find out and see if I can find out who it was. I just need to do a head count here. Let's see. We've got Stephanie Hallmichael. We've got Inga Jansen, Megan Herzog, Stephanie Hallmichael, Jennifer Kruger, Thea Friestedt. Oh no, 4. And D New. That'd be Dixie Newsom. Yeah, 3 and 3. So let's see, who's that 4th? 1, 2, 3. Yeah, it's completely gone. Unless it was Melanie Prince, it could have been, but I believe she was in that chase group there as well. Yep, she's in the back group, 1 minute back. So we're down to 3 and 3 here in the front. Team Vixen taking a very strong position here on the front. They have gotten themselves organized 2 weeks ago as well, where they were able to put riders in this front group, really testing the strength of Team ODivaZ and kind of the legs as far as the women go. But again, welcome to everybody, and to those new viewers here on Zwift Live and all of our partners. I want to thank you for letting us share to your channels, as well as joining us today here on the ODivaZ Ladies Race. We are in the middle of our 3rd lap here with the front group. I'm on board with Jennifer Kruger. I want to jump over to a Team ODivaZ rider. Here's Stephanie Hallmichael. I'm going to spin around to the front of this group. Really, really interesting additions they've made, as far as broadcasters allow us to kind of really get some views inside the groups here. So pace looks good, really strong. They're really rolling. If you notice, this isn't quite at everybody's FTP. This ends up being kind of just a little bit below threshold, and it's a very, very important place. One, for riders to get comfortable in, as well as to kind of be able to utilize throughout a race. A lot of times people feel that races are all out, but if in fact you are in the right position and you're with a group that matches your abilities, you should be close to this threshold or just below that threshold. And really working that area is really could make a difference in your ability to race, and to be strong, as well as to be able to stay with these groups. There will be some rolling jumps of wattages, and I think it's important to be able to roll with those punches, but to be able to roll with those and go back to that just sub threshold of what a lot of riders and coaches call sweet spot is very, very important. You know, you may be here to refer to as being able to have a strong floor, a strong base, whatever it may be. But just to have that strong area, Inga Jansen yells, ODivaZ versus Vixen. Yes, it is Inga. Carrie Conabear from the live stream is looking for Alice Alexander, and I think that's the rider that had a dropout. I'm going to scroll back and scroll down. These ladies are definitely having a good time. You get a cheer of a woo from Stephanie Hallmichael. Probably just about as many characters as we're going to get from this front group as far as text. But you know that they're encouraging themselves as they go. You know, we've got each of the teams probably in their own channels, making sure that they're communicating and that they're doing what they need to get themselves to the front of their groups. Looks like we've got two distinct groups up here now, and I think those two riders in the gap have started to close down. Right. Dixie says it's so much fun. This is how races are supposed to be. And you're right, Dixie, they are. I think when you've got a group that understands the dynamic, and this neutral start, I think, is a key component to that, and where riders are riding to a level that where their competitors are able to, are able to ride with each other, as well as comparable energies and powers and thresholds. I think it can definitely make rides super fun, much more tactical, and it's great to broadcast. And as we just are hearing now, Alice Prince Alexander, she is gone for good. iOS flat, she calls. Looks like something either with her iPhone or her Apple TV has lost connection, and we have lost that rider. So we will see her back with the Swan Years at the finish line. Here we're finishing the third laps. We've got 2 laps to go after this, and we will check in with those groups. But you at home could also follow these gaps. Let me show it to you. If you could head over to zwiftpower.com, we've got everybody still up in the top right corner here. We've got the game in the right. We've got the Zwift Power here on the top left. You can head there and you can see what the kind of the leaders are doing, what the gaps are. You can full size screen that, and that'll bring everything in. You can kind of see the layout right now at this moment. When the timestamp was, Inga Jansen was there on front, Jennifer Kruger, Thea Friestedt, Dane Deere, Dixie there in the spotlight, Stephanie Hallmichael and Megan Herzog there in that front group. And then 19 seconds back, you've got Marie Buchert and then Erin Reese, and then that large group that I was talking about just behind them. So definitely looking good there. We'll jump back to the main race here. As we come through, we've got 2 laps to go, 2 laps to go. The group is starting to break up just a little bit for the chase group, that is. I'm going to see what gaps we have. We've got 2 riders off at the front of that saying this pace is a bit tame for us. I'm going to try to see if we can group up with the riders above, and it looks like they've done that successfully. They are trying to reach Erin Reese of Team Fearless. That would make a 3 or 4 rider group, and with Marie Buchert still putting herself kind of in no woman's land and seeing if the riders will come up to her and really putting out at this point that challenge, saying, hey, I'm up here, come get me, come find me. We definitely need to close this gap. She is about 1 minute and 24 seconds behind the lead group, but this second group is starting to blow up with riders kind of just off the front here. So not looking too bad. We'll jump back to this front group. I think I saw some movement here. Let me see. Nope, still all together. I thought I saw one. Looks like we're missing one. Yep, there it is. So we've got 2 Vixen riders here. Let me call everyone out. We've got Inga Jansen, super strong rider. Thea Friestedt, of course. Megan Herzog, Stephanie Hallmichael, and Jennifer Kruger, I think, has just lost off on the pace. And sometimes that happens when we go up the hills. A little bit of a spike can definitely make it difficult to hold on to these paces. She's got her work done. Jennifer Kruger, we found plenty of time there on the front of the group, doing lots of her work, lots of the work up front, and making sure that their team had good pace. And I'm sure she's put her work in. So she is just 16 seconds off, giving her nod to the group in front of her, leaving it to, which would be left with Dixie Newsom and Inga Jansen here to finish it off. And if she did her job right, the other 2 riders' legs should be fresh and be able to battle out with the likes of Thea Friestedt, Megan Herzog, and Stephanie Hallmichael. But this trio has been known to be very strong. And I think what makes them the strongest actually is their ability to communicate and kind of really get a feel for each other to see who's got the legs to kind of finish off this race. All of them have come from a very, very strong background as far as getting stronger and finding exactly what their weaknesses are in order to harness those weaknesses and work on those weaknesses to make them stronger over the season. And not even just the course of 8 weeks or 12 weeks. You're talking over the long full year of working with their team. Team Vixen as well. These riders it's not a new group. It's not new riders by any means. These riders have actually we know these names, we know these riders, but just more recently they have been organized under the Team Vixen kind of umbrella, and these riders have really kind of grouped together to put both races and rides together that will kind of just bring the community. And it's only really been in the last 3 months that we've seen the women's community really go on fire. And I think the fire point or the jump start was most likely close to that Zwift Academy time, where the women, just a huge number of women, were learning to do structured workouts, getting involved with races, rides, and that sort of thing. And it really, really kind of fired up the women's community. And at that point, you saw the old ODivaZ ladies race grow. You saw groups like Team Fearless grow in size, and then Team Vixen come out of the work just to really put these groups together. A lot of times, people ask why you may have an affiliation one way or the other as far as a group is concerned. And with this type of platform, it typically comes down to a couple things. Community, that you feel accepted, and the second, what time do you normally ride? For me, and the group that I ride with, for example, I ride early in the morning before work. So that's the group that I kind of affiliated myself with. So that's where I ended up. So we've got some comments here. Shen is thumbs down on the iOS flats. Drew's calling for covering all those moves. And then he's also asking who's going to start dropping the watt bombs. So we are finishing our 4th lap here as we go in, and we will be 1 lap to go after this. So we are close. We are close to it here. The chase group is looking good. They are staying together all within a couple seconds. You're looking at 6 riders in that chase group. We do have riders in the gap, but they are closing in on Erin Reese and Caroline Roche, excuse me, with Marie really just putting in the hurt, kind of in that no woman's land. Jennifer Kruger gives her hoorah, her go Vixens to her 2 riders, knowing that she's put in her hard work for today. I'm sure she's watching the race from now. And when it comes to teams like this, a lot of times you feel that sports like this are individual, where there's just one winner, and a lot of times it can look like that. But there is so much team tactics as it goes into these types of race and rides, and what it allows us to do. All right, we're under the brat. I'll get back to that in just a moment. And there it goes. 1 lap to go. 1 lap to go. Let's see. Yep, there we go. We're looking pretty good here with the front group. We are 1 lap to go, 5 riders, and I'll get back to the thought I just had there, but looking pretty steady, still looking like just around 3.5, under 4.0 here. You know, there's going to be plenty of fireworks here as we finish this final lap. Our lap counter is in place. We are going to get times live as they come through the line. Henry Hardy says, Team Moose says go. Yeah, Henry Hardy, Connie, I know Connie from Team Moose has been a great staple to this race and to this ride, and has got a great story behind her as far as, man, she's done so much work and to really get to where she's at as well. All of these women really, and I guess going back to now I got to think of where I was at. Oh, we were talking about watt bombs, and yeah. So what we're looking at is these riders, they put in work, and as far as teams go, a lot of times it can seem like there is just one rider at the finish who's a winner. But in fact, all throughout the race, there's work that had been done to make sure that those riders are where they need to be. In the example of Jennifer Kruger, she made sure that the pace was controlled and that there was one rider from Team Vixen in the front, making sure that there was numbers, as well as the pace being one where the other riders knew what pace they were going to be going at. On the flip side of things, you've got Thea Friedstedt, Stephanie Holmichael, and Megan Herzog here, rolling with the two Vixen riders, taking turns at the front with a couple cards to play. You got Thea with a very, very strong base, someone who could really put strong efforts down, put her out in front. She can definitely put the power down and get away. As you notice, they are very methodically coming to the front, raising the pace here just a little bit by a little bit. I'm really testing to see if those Vixen riders are looking to take that pace. And you notice there's just one rider at a time, really kind of pushing the pace just a little bit. As you see Megan here on the front, they're not fighting for that position, and I think that's very, very smart. We're back into the volcano. We're gonna head downstairs. We're gonna head down in just a little bit. Steven Shen's ringing the bell. Ian Murray is joining. He may be back in his home, back in his house. He was traveling over the last week. We heard over Coach's Corner, but I'm sure he's back. He's excited to get back on his bike and train, I'm sure. Ian says, "Let's go, Thea, Megan, and Stephanie." He's watching this race as closely as anyone else. Quickly back onto the live. Before we get into the live action into this last half lap, I want to make sure we check on our other riders and on Swift Power to make sure that they are all there too. You can notice the gaps up here, up at the front. You're looking at Marie in the middle, still there. Kruger just falling back there, back into this group. Very, very smart of her. She's probably going to try to finish with that chase group. That's still, whoa, that is a big group. I'm going to see if I can find them as soon as this group finishes. Let's get back to that front race. We've got just about a half lap of racing. We're going to make a right and a left. That'll take us downhill, and we're going to take us to the final bump. That's where the action happens. I want everyone on the live stream here to kind of put out who they think is going to take this. We've got Team ODivaZ, 3 riders, 2 riders, Dixie Newsom and Inga Jansen, both really punchy riders. They've got a big high end. They've got the power that I feel, that I see here on Swift Power, to be very, very punchy here at the line. So if this goes to a heads up gunslinging 200-meter dash, those riders have got a really big bump. So the smart thing for those ODivaZ riders to do is, because they have numbers here, is to take this from the long haul, take this from a long shot, really drawing this out for high power. And this is something that we've seen them do before. We know that they do in training. They train for long rides with above threshold efforts, VO2 max, things like that. But again, it's very early in the season, so it's difficult to tell. But if you're just joining in on us, we've got about a half lap, a quarter lap to go here as we get to the finish here, and it is going to be fireworks. We've got 2 teams, Team ODivaZ, Team Vixen, 3 riders from ODivaZ, 2 from Team Vixen. We've got Thea Friedstedt, Inga Jansen, Stephanie Holmichael, Dixie Newsom, Megan Herzog here in the top 5 shots. And it looks like our time counter is available. We will be able to get live finishes as we come to the finish, and I think that's going to be great because it's going to let us know who comes to this line. I think it's going to be it's knife fight. I think it's going to be come down to the wire. So I think it's going to be important that we have all systems go. My second, my third, my fourth computer is on and running. My friend Drew would be happy with how much power I'm pulling from the grid at 5:45 in the morning here from my neighborhood. The lights are flickering outside. We're about to get started here. All right. So missiles have been launched. It looks like Stephanie Holmichael's first. She's coming up the hill very, very strong at 6.3. No doubt they've got something in the plans. Thea Friedstedt right in her draft. You've got Dixie Newsom holding out. This is a proper lead out, folks. Proper lead out. I'm going to see if I can roll around. I do not want to miss this. We'll stay on board here. We'll go around and let's see if I can get to the front. All right, Thea Friedstedt head to head here. I'm going to see if I can keep it close and keep the arch in sight. Dixie comes on by. She's on her own. They're going to need to chase that down. It's time. We're about 200 meters to go. We've got 2 turns. Dixie's here on the front at 7.2. She's unleashed it. Here it goes. Megan right behind her at 6.7 watts per kilogram. I don't know if she's going to catch her. She's on zeros. She's right there. Let's see if it can spin around. Ooh, wow, this is going to be close. I've got the side view there. Megan's coming by. We're right by the line. Boom! Wow, that was so close. Dixie Newsom first. Megan Herzog, I think, just edged out. Taya Friestead right after that. Stephanie Hall-Michael right behind there. And Inga Jansen pulling right in that 5th spot. I'm going to make sure that as we roll through. But man, that was so, so close, everybody. Dixie Newsom really put an effort there as she came up the hill. Team ODivaZ had a proper lead out with Megan Herzog really pulling hard on Taya Friestead, giving her that gap, but Dixie just came by just a bit early, around 350, 400 meters out, and was able to hold it. Megan got a second jump on it all, and was able to kind of get back and get just within, I gotta say, within a half a second of her. So amazing work. I'm gonna see if I can roll back all the way to other riders that are in this group. I just need to let it kind of, there it is, here they are. I've got Caroline Rausch here with this group. She is the head of that chase group behind Jennifer Kruger. She was in this group with Sabra here. Sabra's here right there. Looking at the beginning start, yeah, so it looks like if it all came out, it was within 0.1 yeah, it is 0.1 second if the results are correct here. We're looking at Dixie in first, and 0.1 behind. You're looking at Megan Herzog with Taya Friestead just 0.2 of a second behind her. Stephanie Hall-Michael just another 0.5 behind her. Inga Jansen just rolling right behind her, and another 1 second behind. Really great work. Launa Anthony says, great race, ladies. Great done. Great and well done, Dame Dixie. Drew says, great job. Drew was asking just before that to cover all those moves, but he was right. Great job, everybody. I'm going to see if I could jump on board here. I think I just might have missed the... Let's see if I can spin around. We might have missed the finish here. I've got Sabra here with her group. It's a lot of riders here with her, and I think they've got a couple turns left. I think we'll be okay. They're starting to come through. Sabra's come through. Kay Moores has come through. Yep, a lot of those riders are coming through. So excellent race today. I'm gonna stay on board. I want to make sure I stay in the module with the women here, but we're going to do a little quick recap. All right, so from the beginning here, ODivaZ race, we've got that neutral start that really grouped up this 25 group of riders, allowed us to kind of get a good starting point for them for all different categories. So very good place to get started there. As the fireworks got started and the neutral was released, we had a good group of 4 or 5 Vixen riders and 3 or 4 Team ODivaZ riders group up together. In that break group, we had a couple ones or twosies from PAC and Team EN there in that group. When it all settled out, it was 3 riders from Team Vixen and 3 riders from Team ODivaZ. And then we just had a really good battle up there. Really tame, really calculated, a lot of team tactics, and this is what we like to see. And this is why we come to race. We want to race with our friends and be able to do this sort of thing and be able to kind of get an idea or get a feel for that team out here aspect. And that's what we had today. It allowed riders to really get a look and to get a feel for how this works and how the drafting works and that sort of thing. So really great race today. There we go. And so with that, we had all the way to the final shootout at the final last half lap. We had Team Vixen and Team ODivaZ going head to head. We had a huge push by Megan Herzog leading Taya out. And then we had Dixie Newsom kind of come over the top just to edge Megan. Megan had a second bump right before the line, and really Dixie just got her by just 0.1, a tenth of a second. So really challenging race today. Really got some fireworks going for all of us. So really great race. I want to thank everybody who joined us today. It's been a great time, and please join us again on future broadcasts here. Check Zwift Live by ODivaZ on Facebook, as well as other platforms, and all those other riders that here on by Team ODivaZ. I want to thank you for joining in. This is the ODivaZ Ladies Race signing off, and I will see everybody else in 2 weeks. Have a great weekend.